Well, we're going to start something new again today. I've got my little Get Up 2 Pro camera out to give me a little wider field of vision. And what we're going to do today is play with my new toy. Everybody's had these um, videos out, but they've been, doing this and that. There was one guy interesting the other night I watched. He was a high climber and he was cutting off limbs as he was limbing up the trees. And I thought, well, that's a pretty good use for it. I didn't really need to check to see how he got the safety line around it tied onto it. I'll have to watch that one again, but that was pretty slick. And I mean, it'll do what it does, and that would be a good thing for it. When you're pruning, I've seen a lot of the early videos of the guys, the landscapers are out doing this and that, and they were using it for stuff that I would use the loppers for. I mean, the only thing I would have done was maybe cut the limb off to begin with, and then everything else I would have chopped up into loppers. But what this thing excels at, and I had to put a rubber band on this thing to keep this guy from falling off, is cut wood. And you can see behind me, this is like a beaver in a woodshed cutting up the wood, and you get the little bottle of oil. Pull the battery out here before I move it around, and let's get on with this. I've probably charged up. I got the extra battery with it, and I've got a file, and I bought an extra chain, even though I haven't got the extra chain on it. I did sharpen this one, but I've gone through about each battery's had probably 3 charges, which takes about 70 minutes, depending on how long you let it go down to, 60 to 70 minutes. I mean, I've got piles of limbs around all over the place, but let me change and set up, get a little closer and show you what I'm doing. And I'm just basically taking a limb like this, put it on my stand here. This is a dry cedar, so it's harder than some of the other things I've cut. Let's get an old dry vine maple here. You just keep doing that until the wood's gone. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. We'll come back. One thing I've noticed about this the new economy we've got going now, it's really quiet around here. I haven't heard an airplane fly over here in days, so I don't know if anybody's even the airlines are even flying, but that's beside the point. Let me get a pile up and I cut a couple more. Here's an old fir limb. And a really old rotten fir limb. Still burns in the fireplace. I mean, you just go like that all day long. Well, not all day. Well, you could. I don't know what the duty cycle is on it. They don't say, but if you stop count, it's off as much as it is on while it's cutting through there. So let me get ahead of the game here. We'll come back. Well, I might as well let you watch what I'm doing here. This is an older limb. It's a little thicker, but a little one-handed beaver. And one of the things you want to do is you don't need to leave it running all the time. It's got instant torque. It's an electric motor, so it's going to fire up right away. And don't push it. Yeah. Don't push on it. Let it cut itself. It's got enough weight to it that I think they may have designed that in. Is just lay it on, cut right through. And I'll have this whole pile cut up within probably 3 batteries in about an hour and a half, maybe. I mean, this is what I think they intended this thing for. You can make short work of your wood pile. It's nice to have that stand here to cut them on. This thing's probably 20 years old. Cut a lot of wood, but with a bow saw. And my one-armed grandfather farmer would have loved this thing because he used to have to cut up a year's or his winter's supply back in Kansas, cold weather, out of old Osage orange, you know, hedge apple tree wood. He'd have a huge wall of it next to the entrance to the basement garage, and this would have been so simple for him. But his farm was destroyed last May, 28th, when that F5 tornado hit Lawrence, Kansas. Wiped out the barn and all the outbuildings and took half the house. So, been standing there for 130 years, and in 10 seconds, and everything is gone. Mainly all the memories I had of the place when growing up. Like I said, it's just different sizes. Yeah, I'll get a workout here. Now this is getting up on the upper. Upper end of the range. Yeah, it's burnable. Normally I would use my little Echo chainsaw. For something this big. It also helps to push in so it's on the and I got one battery or one bar, so it's time to change. So you can see the pile. Well, I would have had more if I would have stayed with the smaller one. So let me change out the battery and we'll come back again. Well, there you have 2 batteries. There's some still over here. 2 batteries full. That's a lot of wood. How long do you think it would have taken you? I mean, this is probably, I don't even know if it's been 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. And then I had to walk into the house to put the other battery on charge. So I've got 2, I mean, you know, it builds up to the height of this thing, then I have to move it over and start over again. But that, and it's all pretty dense, no squirrel's going to run through there. So, yeah, this thing, it's not a toy. This is a real work animal. And keep it chain sharped. And where's my toy at? Oh, here it is. Ah. I have to edit all this out. Okay. Let me take the battery out here so I can show you my toy. I made this to sharpen the chain, and it fits in like that. Then I have a rubber band. I pull this back, and then I have a Rockwell jaw horse. I just clamp that thing in there, and then I can clean all the, file all the teeth, and you can see how it fits in there. Just a little box and squeezes. So, yeah, no, this is the tool. The only thing I don't like about this thing, and the factory needs to make a cap or a dummy battery that fits in here, because you can, I don't know if you can see in there or not with the light, it's got these funky little pegs. Milwaukee on their M12 tools are pretty sturdy, so you can, contractors can bash those things around. But this thing, they need to make a dummy battery to fit in there to protect those, and then maybe even some sort of cap to go over the end of the batteries. And the other thing I dislike immensely is that box. Well, the cardboard box is fine because I usually keep it in that, but that Cordova canvas thing that they've got, they call a container. What a useless thing that is. I'm looking now to get a Milwaukee contractor's bag to put it in. That would have been fine if they would have put ends on it, where you just open up the top, you had a little slot in there, some fabric or something to set this thing in, and then the battery hole or a charger, and then room for the batteries and stuff. Your file, extra chain, everything's in one container. But that thing, you can't put anything there because it all falls out because it's got open ends. So I don't know what they were thinking in that. They thought pretty hard on this, but that container, the storage thing needs a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to go ahead and charge this up, see what the other ones do. We'll come back. There's a couple other things I wanted to show you about what this thing is good for, because with that protector down here, being left-handed, when I'm cutting it, keeps the chain away, but it also acts as kind of a shield when you're going down low to the ground, so you don't get the bar into the dirt and rocks and stuff like that. And we'll show you that when I come back later after they get another charged battery. So, well, you can see the pile is gone. I've used I got two squares left, so I got enough to do another little thing I was wanting to show you on using, I use for this without having to be, silly about it. So let me, we'll go ahead and set up. So this is like, this is the third battery. That was a 2.5 battery pile, because I got 2 left. And I got quite a bit of wood. I'll stop this and we'll start up before we go over to the other spot and show you how much wood I've got stacked up in hardly any time at all. Maybe 2 hours, if that much. It would have taken me 3 or 4 days of hand sawing this thing, and it's too small to use my chainsaw on. It'd be just yeah. So okay, this is one of those trees where you might, I flagged them earlier in the year, but instead of trying to knock all these things off, I mean, you could, but basically you got this thing, clear your work area and just get the little Now I'll take my loppers and lop it off. I don't need to waste batteries just pulling all these limbs, which I'll collect and take over to my chip pile. And I've got, let me change over here. Hope you don't get seasick. Like I said, I've got these dead little guys all through the forest. They're everywhere. I mean, that's what this thing is for. Not for, for me anyway. Now that one there is a little more than I want to chew with this thing. But I got another one over here. That I can take out. So now I got more firewood. So that's basically what I want to say about this little guy. I mean, it's a fantastic little beast for what it does. And where did I put my, oh well, shield's around here somewhere. Fantastic little thing. I highly recommend it. Anybody that's got what, I'm doing, clearing out some little limbs, cutting up some small stuff for firewood, even if it's not for your fireplace, at least for your summer outdoor pit fire, for the evening, keep the mosquitoes and stuff away. It beats having to, normally years ago I would have burnt all that. Like great huge clouds of smoke and heat and carbon dioxide going off in the air, but I'm doing this for Greta, little Swedish gal. So that's why I got my WoodMax chipper too. And I just, that big pile you saw in that last WoodMax video, that's all been put along my driveway now. So it's all gone. So, but I've got another pile started. So we'll see you guys later. So this is Red Barn Boats out. So be safe and keep your distance.